So y'all know that I have something called the Citizens of Jomalia private Facebook group.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the IBS.
Yes. I'm a member.
I'm not.
Y'all know I have this disease.
Haha.
Y'all know that I got the IBS. Scared of it. Also, we have a question here from Bianca Sunny Ninja Carvajal.
Hey.
Did anyone ever deal with imposter syndrome? Feeling that everything they get in life is only because they are lucky and they didn't really do anything special to get it. You doubt your own accomplishments and feel like you're going to be exposed as a fraud.
Wow.
Yes.
Imposter syndrome is a very okay. So imposter syndrome is basically a psychological pattern in which one doubts one's accomplishment and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as fraud.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like you feel like you don't deserve the success or you don't deserve where you're at, and you feel like one day someone's gonna call you out as a straight fake.
I honestly think everyone's a fraud. That's the benefit of me.
What do you mean by that?
Everyone's full of shit.
Everyone's full of shit. Everyone doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Everyone makes mistakes.
That part helps.
Huge CEOs, all these big rich guys, they make mistakes. They start businesses that fail. Like, everyone fucks up.
I think they're the biggest frauds.
Exactly. Nobody, dude. You take the same director, Steven Spielberg, who directed some of the most classic movies, and then you look at this movie called 1942 or whatever, is complete ass.
So yes, thank you.
How is that possible, though? It's because people fuck up, and like not everyone knows exactly what they're doing at all times.
This is a common thing, though. I've heard this term being thrown around. Like, a lot of people say it. I last remember Stephanie, Miss Mango Butt. Mm-hmm. So she told me and David that she went through a huge thing of imposter syndrome, and then I didn't realize that this was such a big thing
And
because
people are gonna find out she didn't really eat the food.
no, like she doesn't deserve the success and all that.
kidding.
Yeah.
She eats the food. I did it with her.
I know. I'm just kidding.
She does it on camera. Like,
They can just burn her ass good. That was
It's
good.
funny that like thinking you're an imposter. Like, did
yeah.
I eat that food?
I know,
or
right?
am I a fraud?
Like, that's what she's imposter syndrome about.
yeah.
how am I not fat now?
Well, it was a concept that I thought was a joke. I didn't take it seriously because I think, well, I'm the opposite.
Because you have the opposite. Yeah,
exactly.
you are the opposite.
I feel
You've
like I
never
deserve
felt
more.
that in your life, that where you...
No, I feel like I always deserve more. I feel like, the world isn't recognizing my genius and my greatness.
It's the
and I'm
opposite of narcissism.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, no, that is narcissism.
No. Imposter syndrome is the opposite of narcissism.
Yeah.
Joe's a complete narcissist.
No, I actually think imposter syndrome is narcissism because you're so focused on your fucking self.
Well, self-hatred is narcissism because you're
so important.
You still think that you're more special. Like, you hate yourself more than anyone else. Like, you are worse than everyone else. Like, you're still seeing yourself as more special.
I'm better than everyone. Why aren't they giving me more recognition?
Yeah.
That's narcissism, but the other one I don't feel like it is.
Like the self-hatred, you're still saying like
It's all I focus. So to
Yeah.
me, narcissism isn't just being an egomaniac. To me, narcissism is also someone who's I focused. It's always I.
Well, you are yourself, so I get that. But like in the term when you doubt yourself for like doing that, I feel like that's just sad.
It could be like, I feel like the imposter syndrome could be more about focusing on other people, not necessarily yourself too.
Right, that's why it's not narcissism.
Idealized image of everybody else.
But if I kept bragging and trying to get like recognition by you guys, even though I know, like if I like, oh, I don't deserve this much, and then you guys are like, no, you do, then I feel good about it. That, what is that term? You're fishing for compliments.
Yeah.
That's, I feel like being a narcissist. But if you're just internally doing that to yourself and it's not like coming out to anyone else,
Was that just low self-esteem?
just low self-esteem.
You don't feel like you deserve it.
Yeah, I don't think that's narcissism.
Have you guys ever experienced this though?
Yes, all the time.
You get it now?
Yeah, all the time. Because, well, I mean, I have to read a lot of books and you should always be working on yourself. So I feel like this is something that I've worked on a lot. But I think a part of it is because of the lack of certification for the things that we do in our industry, where like I dropped out of college to pursue entertainment. Well, college, you get a degree. It's like something that you say, like, look at me, I went to 4 years of schooling and like here's a certificate. There's a physical, tangible thing that says I'm qualified, okay? But when you drop out of college, even if you have all the experience in the world in your field, if there's no physical certification or you can't point to things and say like, I'm an expert because look at this and I got recognized here or whatever, you don't have a form of validation that like the world can see. And so you almost, I don't know, this is just from personal experience, like it's almost like I felt like I kept having to work to like prove myself because I'm trying to prove it to myself almost, because there's no like thing that says look, I'm qualified. I just can I only have experience, you know?
That works for you. It's a motivator.
It is a motivator, but it's also gets me really depressed because I'm like, wait, am I qualified?
Because you're
am I
motivated by
experienced?
other people's approval, not because you yourself wants to change the game and doing.
No.
It's just a part of it.
It's more like I have something that I think would really help the world, but am I qualified to help them? Am I qualified to like give that advice out? And like, so when I'm sharing it, I'm like, this feels right. This feels like purpose. But then it's in the aftermath where I'm like, wait, was I even supposed to do that? Like, was I supposed to give that knowledge out? Or maybe I should have trained more. Or maybe I should have done this thing over here. And
What if I'm wrong?
That's all in my head. Yeah, that's what this whole thing is that
I see.
it's like being scared that maybe I fucked up somehow. Maybe I gave the wrong advice, or maybe I'm not supposed to be in this position of being able to influence other people or like tell people that like this is what worked for me. Maybe it can work for you.
Sure, but that's also something that can't happen. Nobody can ever get perfect advice. No, I know you know that. Yeah, but that's part of what I'm talking about. Is like there is no perfect advice. There is no perfect. Hey, read this book and you're set.
I think that sometimes people have the confidence or they feel qualified because they have a tangible thing. Like they're like, well, I have a PhD after my name. I have MD or whatever. I have certifications. So they feel it almost has that power, that feeling, that empowerment that you are qualified to do the things you're doing.
Yeah, because it's built into it.
Right. So for me personally, since I didn't have any qualifications or like something solid and it really isn't solid, it's something made up by society too. But like because I didn't have that thing that's recognized by society, I always just felt this like, maybe I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, it's just the field that you chose too, because it comes along with, you don't get those accolades until you're standing on a stage somewhere getting handed a fucking award. Like, for example.
Right. And it's not even about the award or the accolade, it's just about like being able to say I'm like qualified. Yeah.
Right, and I think
But you are.
I know, but I know that now. Like,
Have you ever saw it in a way where it's like the system is faulty and I'm just showing and exposing how much it sucks?
absolutely. I read so many biographies, and most successful people dropped out of, like a lot of the
Right.
billionaires dropped out of college. They figured out how to do it in a smarter way where they're working, they work smarter, not
And we're
harder.
not hating on college. Fuck yourselves.
No,
we're talking
we're not hating on
about
college.
our field does not come with a certificate that says you can't do this.
You can get a certificate after improv Olympics and
I feel like I have to give disclaimers on disclaimers on disclaimers about everything. But it's all about...
it's how you frame it, right? And then also it's who you're speaking to, because you can't expect everyone to understand you. Have you heard of the zone of proximal development?
No.
So depending on what someone's level of consciousness is and education, you have to speak to them differently. So for example, you're not going to speak to a 3-year-old like a scholar, right? So you have to, and we have a huge age range and people of intellectual understanding. Yeah, and so we can't generalize to the point where everyone understands. So you're sometimes not speaking to the whole audience. It might be niche, and then you're gonna anger like 80%.
Because you're also talking from a place of experience, because you have created successful businesses and stuff like that. So when you do tell them like, hey, you don't need this, for them they're like, they don't see you. You're just like, oh, you just dropped out, you got lucky, you did this. And then they just don't see the other side. But you're trying to come to them like, hey, you don't really need this.
Right, and there are a lot of try-hardy people who get in the comments and they try to talk like we're trying to advocate for getting away from college, and they try to go like, everyone, please go to college. Don't listen to these people. They're going to ruin your lives. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not what we're fucking talking about. But that's they choose to see this, like what we're saying, as adversarial to what they're about.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not against the 9 to 5. I'm not against the college. I'm just telling, when I usually say this, it's like, know yourself and align yourself with the right things that you want out of life. College isn't for everyone, but at the same time, it's now become a huge racket. College is a money grabbing system, and people are leaving with huge fucking loans.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna get
And
in
you have
debt,
no
and if you're gonna
security.
have all that stuff, you might as well be doing something that you want to do.
And save money.
I also feel like we talked a lot about this industry, and like it's a lot harder to gain that kind of value because it's not built into this industry, right? You don't have the degree, you don't have whatever, but people still have this imposter syndrome even with a normal job, right? They have their college degree, they have their career, they've been working in their career for like 10 years even, and people still feel like they didn't earn it. Like, how do you, what kind of advice would you give to these people? Like, even though they've been working in their career for 10 years.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep getting successful.
Well, they could feel like they got their job because of that one instance in life, which is true. Like, anything that happens to any of us is because of that one thing that happened, and then all of a sudden one other thing that happened, right? And they feel like that one thing that happened was maybe because of luck. But, you know, everything is kind of a little bit like...
Luck is where preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah, and look around you. Everybody fucks up all the time. And like Disney just completely fucked up Star Wars. Like they made the less money on the third movie than they made on the second.
And everyone gets lucky too.
Right.
It's not all by yourself, your own merit. Like some people, you have great parents that help you find the way. You have family members or whatever. I mean, why do people expect everything to be done all by themselves?
That's the American mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
When we're talking about imposter syndrome too, I've been reading a lot about perceived expertise, and like I also study the opposite, like how you were saying you're the opposite of imposter syndrome. I study people that like I noticed that they aren't qualified at all, but they perceive themselves as qualified and they brand themselves that way, and people buy into that. And it doesn't matter that they're not qualified. And I always thought that was so crazy. Like I look at them and go, "What a fraud!" Not you, but like
no, people call me fraud all the time.
But I don't. But I've seen other people that are broke as shit.
I think you're a fraud.
Yeah.
Like there's this one person in my life who was broke as shit, always complaining about money, but to the public, she talks about how ballin' she is, and she's always like trying to flex on. Yeah, it's nuts, bro. And then everybody in her comment section is like, damn, I want to be like you got that ballin' lifestyle, all this stuff. But behind the scenes, she's always complaining about how broke she is. And so I'm like, damn, see, I see the behind the scenes, and I'm like, I never want to be like that. And then it makes me re-examine. I'm like, am I doing anything that I'm like, am I not being 100 with? And like, it almost like, it makes you reevaluate yourself, and that's why I feel like I
think that's also like she's just being fake.
Right. That
Putting
is really
out that, I feel like that's a little bit more
it's
different.
the opposite of imposter syndrome, because she like puts out this image of her being like
That's
this
totally an imposter.
right.
That's
right.
that's
she's
an
actually an imposter.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
then it makes me go like, she's
You're
being an
afraid of
imposter, but
that.
everyone's buying into that. So like, am I like doing anything imposter? Because I don't want to be that.
Well,
I don't want to be
When you
that.
know what you're doing and you're sure of yourself, then you don't guess that. And then you
Right.
can focus more on the work that you want to do and give out to the world.
And by the way, this is all like years ago. I don't feel this way now.
I see.
This is like when I talk about depression, it's like after I have a better understanding of it, I can
so
look
you're
back.
speaking in retrospect of what you went through.
Yes, exactly.
It's not like
currently right now, I am very happy with where I'm at, and like very like I feel very solid about it. But it took years to get there.
Nobody who's wildly fucking successful feels the security of knowing that their name is enough and like they made it, right? For example, everyone's watching this documentary right now about Michael Jordan. I haven't gotten to watch it yet, but I know that Michael Jordan used to practice every fucking single day, like during the season. Like he used to drive into the court and he would be there early and he's working on his game. Why? He's Michael Jordan. He's arrived. Everyone, you've already won championships. Why?
You're the best already. Why?
Exactly.
because he's not good enough. Same with Kobe. After a game, he would practice.
After a champion game, like he'd win.
So
Instead of celebrating, he's practicing.
So no matter who you are, our culture is built, like you said, where it's like pull yourself up by your bootstraps and all this shit. But you have to realize that these people, even the people who you see as legends or special people, they are working their fucking asses off. And that's how they got to be legends and how they get to be so
Because they don't know everything.
Exactly. And they still lose games. Like you look at Michael Jordan's record, he lost a fuck ton of games. But he won way the fuck more. So it's about what you're gonna do tomorrow and just trying to put your best foot forward. And
Or you could be like me and just blame everything that's not working right because you're supposed to be there. Like I'm Muhammad Ali, but it's my body that's holding me back. Fuck your body.
I mean, look at Tom Brady. He's won more games than almost anybody in the NFL. And he's also lost more games. So it just says a lot. Like none of these people are infallible. Like everyone's not perfect. No one is special.
No one especially.